Let's go now to Norman R. Klein. He's a Ph.D., been in private practice in New York and Westport, Connecticut as a clinical and forensic psychologist. You can find him at normankleinphd.com. Hello, Dr. Klein. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on America's Radio News. Your thoughts on, I guess, first of all, let's turn to these three women and what's ahead of them as far as their recovery.
Well, it's important to note, to be careful about not speculating, and to also remember these are individuals with individual strengths and weaknesses. What's ahead of them has to include permitting them to gently and slowly recount their experiences. I know that everybody feels an urgency to understand what they went through, and there's a modern 24/7 news cycle that sort of demands revelation and an interpretation of what went on, but it's most important that this be done very gently, very gradually by therapists who have worked, who have expertise in this specific population. And so it's going to be important to understand that they need to, at their own pace, give the details because they have been damaged by extensive, savage, prolonged depravity. Every sphere of their being has been affected.
Dr. Klein, the public clearly is going to want to know just about as much as we can find out about what happened in that house. It is a gripping, fascinating, compelling story. Do you think that it is in the girls' interest to publicly talk through, reveal, and go through this? I mean, obviously the public wants them to talk. Is it psychologically useful for them to go on talk shows and talk about what happened, or is that just reliving the past in some sense?
Well, at this time, my answer is certainly not good for them. They don't want to be reduced to, in their identity, to just the victim, the person who had to endure this ordeal. I think that public exposure, while I understand even the public's right to know, is secondary to whatever repair is available to them right now, and that requires that there be maintained privacy. I mean, after all, even the prosecutor, I think, in recognition of this, has put a gag order on any of the results that we get from investigations. And don't forget, we didn't we didn't get anything from the medical personnel quite properly, and we haven't seen any firsthand direct statements from them or observations of them.
Dr. Klein, got about 30 seconds left. I want to touch here on the suspect, Ariel Castro. They're saying he may face a death penalty. In your experience with forensic psychology, what's in the mind of somebody like this?
I think, well, first of all, I think it's fascinating that he can be charged with a death penalty in the backdrop of Roe Wade because, is it personhood or is it not personhood? Capital murder requires personhood.
Actually, what they're saying in Ohio is that the most, quote, most depraved criminals who commit aggravated murder during the course of a kidnapping, I guess it would have to be the abortion idea. I'm not sure, but
yes, indeed, indeed. But if Roe v. Wade under the 14th Amendment due process accepts that it's not personhood, how can you claim murder if it's not a person? It's fascinating. There must be a different interpretation for homicide.
Right. Well, Dr. Klein, wish we had more time. We're up against the network clock. Yeah, we will follow that angle of the story and be talking about it. Dr. Norman R. Klein, he's a clinical and forensic psychologist. You can find him at normankleinphd.com. Coming up on America's Radio News,